Does anyone ever just get the urge to dig out a hole in Minecraft? Not for any reason, I'm not looking for resources, I just want to do the efficiency 5, haste 2 grind. Well, that's how this episode came about. Now, unfortunately, giant openings in the earth can be a bit of an eyesore, so in hopes of making it look a little bit better, we're going to classify it as a quarry, because we all know those are nice to look at, right? Right? No, I do actually think we can turn this into a pretty cool addition at the base. It's set up just beside the Arctic Research Facility, and I thought it could be a cool idea to maybe try and incorporate them together somehow. But first we need to make sure this hole looks somewhat okay, starting by adding in a gradient going all the way from tough up to the bright and white calcite. Then we can destroy some of the surrounding terrain in order to rebuild it so it fits with the hole a little bit better. And as for the entrance to the quarry itself, instead of going with a chaotic terraforming style where blocks are just all over the place, we're going for a very neat and orderly and honestly quite blocky sort of thing. It might look a little bit strange, but I think it actually works. If you look at real life quarries, they're not just like they've blown a massive hole in the ground, they're actually dug away and chiseled bit by bit. The rock they're harvesting is usually in some sort of rectangle, so something like this honestly sort of makes sense. Plus, it's something just a little bit different. So my thinking is it's kind of a 2-in-1 quarry. At the top here, they're harvesting chunks of whatever brick this is, some sort of icy rock, marble. It's not really an icy block, but you know what I mean. They're getting stuff from the surface, but then down here, they're harvesting something a little bit rarer, which is gonna be ice. And not just any type of ice, we're using the fancy schmancy blue ice. Very expensive stuff, this. So now, right at the bottom of the quarry, we've got a few patches of ice, which is what the people at the research facility are looking to get samples of, maybe. But to get it, you gotta go deep down underground, which means you go into a massive hole that currently has no way out of. And I'm imagining these people don't really have an elytra. So this is the perfect opportunity to add in a switchback staircase, going all the way up to the surface. I can't say this exactly feels like the safest thing to use. A little bit scary. And to try and help with that a little bit, at least on the sides, we're going to have some trapdoors folded like that. And then maybe when we've got these stairs, just to break it up a bit, we can chuck in a shelf and then continue with trapdoors. I'd say that also looks a little bit better too. Adds some kind of structural support. And now also feels a little bit safer to use. I don't quite feel like I'm going to plummet to my death on all 4 sides. Just one of them now. Gotta go careful at the front. So, in all honesty, that's kind of the quarry done. We don't necessarily need to add anything else. We've got the hole, we've got the staircase. It can sort of be used now. But looks a little bit empty around here, I'd say. Something we have just got to add into the quarry here is a crane. I feel like it's just a staple of a build like this. You got to have a crane delving down into the quarry below, heaving up whatever's being mined, which in this case is, of course, the ice. And I'm very happy with how this crane has turned out, but I am a little bit ashamed of how long it took me to design. Not kidding, this was like 4 hours worth of work. I could just not get it to look right, but in the end, I think it's turned out pretty cool looking. Over here, I've placed some shelves, which are just going to be the ice storage, basically where the ice is going to go once it's lifted off of the crane. And we're going to use packed ice here instead of blue ice, just because it's something a little bit different, and maybe this is the color it goes after it's been sitting around for a while. And obviously, you know, we're pretending that this ice is special ice. It's not the same as what's down there, or here, or dotted all over this snowy, icy mountain. It's something special, otherwise there's no real point in whoever's working here to be digging quite that far down into the ground. I forgot to light up the underside of this terrain, haven't I? I just keep hearing mobs. How safe is it in here? Okay, not very by the looks of it. Please be no creepers. Oh, baby zombie though, thank you. Get away, you know what? Give me a second. Okay, I'm feeling better. Let's give that another go. Alright, not actually too bad in here. That could have been a lot worse. Oh boy, did I just nearly die to 2 skeletons? Yes, I did. But I didn't, so we're fine. There we go, one less problem to deal with. We can now get back to building, which... what should be next? I definitely want to have some kind of building over here, and I'm thinking of doing something like a smaller version of our research facility. I just love this build so much, I want to do something like it again, but on a much smaller scale, because this took forever to make. You can definitely see the similarities. Well, actually, hang on. Now you can. Same block palette, we've got that added greebling kind of dotted all over with the little machines. Did I say it right? Greebling? Greebles? Every single time I get comments about it, and I always forget. But today I remembered, it's basically just all of these added details I've got dotted around the build, which don't actually do anything, but kind of look like they give it purpose. We've got the same over here, just not quite as many. There is just something about the stony builds with all of the added greebles that I'm still not sure if I'm saying it right. I love it, I think they look so good together. As for the inside, it is empty, bar a couple of bits of lighting. We do have this cool sliver, which I really like, but we're going to come back to this later on. I think the only other area around the quarry that I want to build some stuff is kind of over here, just next to the research facility. We've got that side over there covered, the crane is nicely taking up a good section in the middle, staircase over here, and then this terrain doesn't really suit anything to build on, so I'm going to leave that blank. More and more nowadays, I'm trying to give my builds some purpose and kind of explain why they're there in the first place and what they're doing. So at the moment, we've got this quarry, which is well and good, but currently all we've actually got is a big hole with a big crane, and the crane isn't really doing anything. So what we're making right now is an unloading station. Somewhere for the crane to drop the ice in as it brings it up to the surface, and then maybe even beside it we could just have some kind of control box. But now begs the question, how did these ice blocks get put somewhere else? Well, obviously another crane, this time just one a little bit smaller. So this is very much so inspired from a design I saw from the Nakabe MC, and the main reason that I liked it is because right at the end here, next to the lever, there was a little copper golem controlling the crane, which I think is just damn right adorable. And since we've got this guy here, it's kinda making me feel like we should have some other copper golems dotted around the place. We can have one up here next to the big crane. I guess he's got to reach to get that lever, so maybe that one? Or maybe have one over here doing something with the ice storage. Another one sat on top of the ice being brought up, getting a cheap lift up instead of using the staircase. This guy can be signaling to the crane operator, telling him, you know, where to put the ice. And then maybe we'll just have a couple of them walking up and down the staircase, with one at the bottom here making his way towards some ice. Okay, this was a good decision. They are so cute. I love them. Obviously, it would be better if they were actually, you know, walking and moving around, but they are not that smart. If I tried to let them be alive, they would 100% fall off and die. We do still have one issue with this whole thing making sense, and that is, where does this copper golem take this ice block? Currently, he's got nowhere to swing it to, which is why we're building an ice lorry. Well, a lorry that's going to carry the ice, not a lorry chiseled out of an ice block. That would be impressive, but that's not what we're doing. This is just a standard lorry with a trailer on the back. Which, yes, of course, it's going to have a copper golem driver. But I would say, at least once we get all of this removed, I'm pretty happy to call this place finished. It now makes sense, at least in my head. I'm imagining the lorry just takes the ice over to the research facility and kind of dumps it outside. I guess it could technically park in the garage here, but this great big thing's sort of in the way, so maybe it just drops it off and goes back to the quarry. We are, of course, missing some pathways, but I'm kind of holding off before adding them in yet because this area is still very, very empty and I don't want to build pathways that are going to get in the way of other buildings. So for now, I'm leaving it just pretty bare. But eventually it'll look like how this part of the mountain base looks, with lots of pathways and trees, but we're a little ways off that yet. Now I know I said we were done, but We're not really. Aesthetically we are, but I would actually like to turn this into a farm. And can you guess what it is? I think it's pretty obvious. The ice quarry underneath is going to have a slime farm. A slime farm. Truth be told, I don't really need ice, but I do kind of need slime. There is a reason the quarry is this exact shape in this exact location, and that is because it is actually a slime chunk. In fact, it's one of the only slime chunks in this mountain area that isn't occupied by another building, so it kinda has to be here. I guess that's not necessarily true, I could just hide it underground, but if I want to incorporate it into a surface level build, this is the only option. Now before you tell me in the comments, I know there are better ways to make a slime farm nowadays. I could list probably 3 other types of farms that would be quicker, more efficient, and require a whole lot less time to build. But I wanted to make the quarry and I wanted to dig a hole, and I just fancy doing it the old way, okay? Is that fine? In all fairness, the farm itself doesn't actually take that long to make. It's just dig a hole, add some platforms, and make a killing area at the bottom. What's going to take the longest is spawn proofing, because I'm doing this in a stupid way. But first things first, we need to get some iron golems, which is requiring quite a lot of iron. Thankfully I've got a plentiful supply, so it's not really a big deal, but I need to do this 40 times. Make a layer of iron bars going across to keep them safe and spawning one in, and then ideally jumping back across with no issues. There's absolutely 0 chance I don't fall down at least once while doing this. And there we go. That is the last iron golem. Probably a totally overkill amount of them, but at least I know the farm's gonna work. I actually haven't checked the collection system's working, so maybe let me just chuck like 1, 2, 3 rockets in each side, make sure everything is working fine. And ideally, they are going to end up in this little building, which is actually the purpose of this thing. It's finally lit up now, we can come back to it. Oh! Hello, slime balls. Well, that's good and also bad, because it means my hopper system here isn't working. Oh, but it is. Oh, and there's my rockets. Some of them, not all of them. I'm conflicted. This is semi-working and semi-not. I think I might just need to put like a stopper here instead of a pressure plate to stop the drops just flying over the top, but we're getting slime balls, so I guess that's a bonus. We are actually going to incorporate a live copper golem into this little building. We've got one that's kind of set up on charge over here, which I thought was a fun little detail, but we've got a copper chest and a regular chest, so we may as well get a proper guy. So there you go, give you a wax, take that off you, and hopefully you should get to work. Yep, there you go, in that chest please, if you don't mind. Great job, buddy. Way to go. Now for the actual time-consuming part of today's project. As if digging multiple holes and making an entire slime farm wasn't enough, I need to spawn-proof, like, most of the caves underneath me. I'm going to AFK at this spot, well actually just below this spot, and I've made a despawn sphere, so 128 blocks in all directions that I'll be able to see with an outline. And yeah, I just need to go around and place a bunch of light sources in every single cave. I really should have just made an easy slime farm. This is definitely not the way to do it. I would not recommend. Now that was a little bit deceptive. Kinda seems like I've just placed a few frog lights in a handful of caves and called it a day. I've actually placed near enough an entire inventory of frog lights, and I'm not even close to being fully spawn proofed. But this guy is continuously busy, and honestly, we're getting more than enough slime blocks for what I need. And so I am calling it a day. I don't want to do any more spawn proofing, not really. I'm happy with the build, I'm happy with the farm, so I am gonna call it there. Thank you everybody so much for watching, I really hope you did enjoy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. No elytra. That's embarrassing.